One of the most important things that make a volley successful is using your pectoral muscles. So in this video, I'm going to show you an exercise that will help you integrate those muscles into the volley. And I'm also going to take you through a workout at the wall to practice your volleys. So for this exercise, all you need is a basket. You can use the basket that you have for your balls. And what I want you to do is place it somewhere where it comes out to about your height. And I want you to stretch both arms. I want you to put one arm outside, both arms outside of the basket. And I want you to press that basket in with your arm. So you're gonna try to squeeze the basket. Now, what I want you to be aware of is what you're feeling in your pectoral muscles. So they're contracting, right? So this is the feeling that you need to feel when you're hitting a forehand volley. So if you were to grab a racket, ideally, you want to feel as if you were contracting that basket so that the power comes from your right arm and the control comes from your left arm, right? So ideally, when you hit a forehand volley, then it's going to look like the punch is coming from the right arm and your rudder, your direction, is coming from the left arm. And yes, both arms should be trying to come towards each other, just like you felt over here. So that's the forehand. Now for the backhand, I want you to, again, place your arms, but this time you're gonna place your arms inside the basket and you're going to try and separate your arms. And again, I want you to realize what's happening to your chest and also to this part of your arms. You feel a little bit of pressure, right? You feel how your pectorals and your arms are getting into the picture. So this is the feeling that you need to have when you're hitting a backhand volley. So on a backhand volley, ideally, you should be hitting it with one arm. So if you were a righty, your right arm would be going forward while your left arm is going backwards. So power is coming from this arm and control is coming from this arm. This arm is also your rudder, is what's gonna tell you where you're going. So going back to this exercise, it needs to feel like you're separating. So let's start with the forehand. So the first thing that I want you to do is practice getting the pectoral muscles into the picture. So remember, this is going to power the stroke and this is going to control it. Very simple. We're just gonna try and pick a spot on the hitting wall and we're gonna try and separate what the right arm is doing from what the left arm is doing. Good. The next thing that I want you to do is think about the V. So ideally, anytime that you're hitting a volley, you want to try to build a V between your racket and your arm so that ideally, when you make contact, you want to feel as if you still had that V. So you're going to try and punch with the base of the racket. By breaking the wrist, the power is gonna come from this side. We're gonna drag the ball with the entire racket and we're gonna try and slice with the tip of the racket, okay? Good. So on the backhand volley, we're gonna start with the same things. We're gonna start by bringing the chest into the picture. So remember, this time we're gonna separate your arms, right? This is gonna punch and this is going to control. This is your rudder, this is your power. Now when it comes to your arm, the base, the grip is going to punch the ball. And in order to do that, we need to break that wrist, okay? So we're not gonna hit with a complete straight arm. We're gonna try and break that wrist so that we can punch, we can push with the whole racket, and eventually we can slice with the tip of the racket. So first thing that we're gonna do is get those pectoral muscles together and include that wrist. So now that you got that part, we're gonna work on the V. So same thing. The more we can keep that arm and that racket looking like a V, the more you're gonna be able to slice at the end. And again, pretend that you're gonna make contact with the ball with the V still looking like a V. And as you push through the ball, you're gonna start dropping. And when you get rid of the ball, that's when you're gonna release. Good. And the last exercise that I want you to do, this is gonna be a little bit challenging, but you're gonna have fun with this. So what I want you to learn to do is I want you to learn to absorb the power of the incoming ball by keeping the grip where it is when you make contact, and by letting the top of the racket move back a little bit. So that's basically the whole premise behind a drop volley. I made a video a while ago about the drop volleys, which I'm gonna link over here. Go through it, you're gonna pick up a lot of good tips on that video. That's the exercise. Good. So basically what I want you to do is bounce the ball as a backhand slice, let the ball hit the wall, and when you receive that ball, you're gonna try and keep the base of the racket where it is, and you're going to try and absorb all the power of the ball with the strings. And let's see how close you can make that ball bounce to you. There you go. Like I always tell you, you want to try to keep that grip nice and loose. You should be able to introduce a pencil between your grip and the racket, so that ideally when you're trying to do this exercise, you can break the wrist and you can absorb all the power coming from the ball on the strings. Good. So the more you can feel how the wrist broke at that moment, the better. That is the whole point of this exercise, so that you can really separate what the tip of the racket is doing and what the bottom of the racket is doing. Let's do the same thing on the forehand. At first, it might be a little bit challenging, but remember, the more loose you keep that grip, the more you're gonna be able to break the wrist and absorb the power with the strings. So what a lot of people do when they try to hit a volley and they want to try to take pace away from the volley is they hit the ball and then they take away the whole racket. We want to take away only the top of the racket and keep the base of the racket where it is. So have fun going through these exercises, and please do let me know in the comments if you were able to find some time to do this and what your experience was with these exercises. And also if you have any questions, if there are any issues that you ran through, and I'll do my best to respond.